Have you ever heard, get good grades, work hard, and clear your exams so you can get a high paying job? There's nothing wrong with that, right? But is that the real way to make money? Well, I think Robert Kiyosaki is here to change our minds. And he tells us if you follow this, you fall into certain traps. I hope you're very excited. Let's dive right in.
Hi everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Fernanda and in this YouTube channel, Fernanda's TV, I do a whole lot of stuff and this is the second episode in this our beautiful series where I review books. So watch out for more episodes. So today I'm going to be reviewing this book by Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's a very popular book, so many of you may know it, and it's one of the best personal finance book of all time. And here he's teaching us what the rich teach their kids that the poor and the middle class don't. So stay tuned because I'm going to be diving in and just giving you the brief summary of it, and I'm going to give you different things. So stay tuned. So this is the layout we're going to be taking it in. First, I'm going to be talking about the book, and I'm going to go to the summary. I'm going to go to the key takeaways or notes. I'm going to go to talking about how the book has helped me and who is it for. I'm also going to give you other recommendations on the book. So let's get started. So about the book. So the introduction of this book about Kiyosaki tells us that he grew up with two fathers. Then he had a rich dad and a poor dad, and both of them understood money differently. And here in this book, he's going to teach us the principles his rich dad taught him because they both had different mentalities and different ways that they understood money. Let's see what he has for us. I'm going to be dividing the summary into three parts. The very first part, I'm going to be talking about the education stage, which is the importance of financial education. And the second one, I'm talking about the secrets of the rich. And I'm going to be talking about the action stage. That's the last part, which is skill building and investment, the roadmap to wealth. So stay tuned. So let's start with the very first one. So education stage, the importance of financial education. Kiyosaki stresses this in the first two chapters of this book, but in the other chapters, he also talks a lot on this, the importance of financial education, because he tells us different key principles and different secrets that the poor and the middle class don't know. It talks about this in detail in chapter 1 and chapter 2. So let's dive right into it. So, chapter 1, where we find our first lesson, the rich don't work for money. The poor and the middle class work for money, the rich have money work for them. Now, for someone that's hearing this for the first time, it's going to be like, what? You may be confused and you don't understand, but Kiyosaki is going to explain this deep and get deeper into this. So, he tells us that if you want to make money, you have to understand it first. And for you to understand money, there are some key things you need to know because if you don't understand money, you can't make money and you're going to fall into certain traps. He gives examples of a lot of traps that we can fall into if you don't understand money. So here he's talking about the importance of financial education. Another thing he mentions is that people's lives are controlled forever by two emotions, fear and greed. And if you don't understand money, which is if you're ignorant of financial education, you're going to fall into the trap called the rat race. So first, the fear of not having money motivates you, to work harder, to get a better job. Then when you have higher paycheck, you start, you want more things. You start having greed for more things. And then you continue in that, like that, like that, like that. First you're scared that, oh my gosh, you have bills to pay, then you get a job, you get it, and then you get a better job, get a higher paycheck, and then you continue like that, and then you want more things, and then you start entering into debt and have more bills to pay. That is a rat race, and that is a pattern we're going to fall into if you don't understand money. And here it tells us that once you're stuck in this cycle, you'll be forced to work for someone for the rest of your lives. Can you imagine? And then he says that the main problem is the ignorance, and then it leads to fear and greed. When you're ignorant of this financial education, and then have fear and greed, and you continue in this pattern. The main thing it talks to us in this chapter is the importance of financial independence. Now we move on to chapter 2, and in this chapter, it talks on two things. It talks on the flaws of traditional education and the need for self-education. So here it tells us, as he also told us in chapter 1, that school education doesn't teach us everything we need. It doesn't teach us anything about financial education. In this chapter 2, the title and the lesson is Why Teach Financial Literacy. It is not how much money you make, it is how much money you keep. Here it talks about the importance of financial education, the flaws of traditional education, and the need for self-education. Because since school doesn't teach you what you need, then you need to learn it by yourself. You need to teach yourself how. And it tells you that you can use books, you can go to seminars. Like for example, reading this book now is a good way for you to teach yourself financially. And another chapter that talks on this is chapter 3. And in this chapter, Kiyosaki educates us financially. He educates us on something in chapter 3. And the chapter is mind your own business. Mind your own business. Now, when you listen to this, you be like, what does it mean? Well, it says the rich focuses on your asset columns while everyone else focuses on your income statements. That is what it means by mind your own business. And here it tells us that we should put our savings in real assets. And what we can take from here is it says we should focus on building assets and we should shift to an investor's mindset. It also focus on building assets and shifting to an investor's mindset. Here, it tells us that for you to be rich, the main thing you need to know is the difference between assets and liabilities. And it gives us a very, very simple definition here. It tells us that an asset is something that puts money into your pocket, while a liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. That is the keep it super simple principle that uses the KISS. And also, it tells us to remember a simple observation, which is that the rich buy assets, the poor only have expenses, the middle class buy liabilities they think are assets. Now, understanding the importance of financial education and the importance why you need to teach yourself stuff that school doesn't teach you, we move on to the second part of this book, the key secrets of the rich. So this can be found in chapters 4 and 5. In chapter 4, it's telling us about the history of taxes and the power of corporations. So it says here that my rich dad just played the game smart and he did it through corporations, the biggest secret of the rich. In this chapter, it talks on two things here. It tells us two things: understanding the impact of taxes and the advantages of corporations. And here it's telling us that the taxes affect our wealth, it affects our assets, and taxes can significantly affect wealth. So we really need to understand them. We need to understand corporations, the advantages of corporations. It tells us that it is good to incorporate a business or investment entity. And he also explains to us how corporations enjoy tax advantages and limited liability. So we need to limit our taxes, and that is the biggest secret of the rich. Why the rich don't pay taxes the way the poor and the middle class do. Then we move on to chapter 5, which talks on something similar. And the chapter 5 talks on the rich invent money. The rich invent money. The single most powerful asset we have is our mind. This is something he says here. If it is trained well, we can create enormous wealth. And then here he tells us technical skills to financial intelligence. We have number 1, accounting, then investing, then understanding markets and the law. Those are the 4 technical skills to financial intelligence. So here it talks on skills to financial intelligence and wealth or financial success. And it tells us to get wealth or financial success, you need some stuff. Number 1, you need to identify opportunities. Then you need to have creativity and innovation, because as he said earlier, he said that our mind is the single most powerful asset we have, and we can bring out wealth from our mind. So it depends on our education, it depends on our creativity and our innovation, and identifying opportunities that can make us get to that place that we want to get to. It also talks on value creation and how wealth is generated through value creation by creating like unique, valuable services or products. After knowing the key secrets of the rich, move on to the last stage, which is the action stage, skill building and investment, roadmap to wealth. After chapter 5, Robert Kiyosaki talks to us on everything we need to do now that we have known all this to get to where we want to go to. And here in chapter 6, it tells us work to learn, don't work for money. And the key lesson we take from this place is investment in financial education and skills is important. Investment in education and skills, that is what we get from here. And it's telling us that if you want education and skills, that your basic stuff can do, you need to seek mentorship and guidance and look for experiences. You gain diverse experiences, then you invest in yourself. That is, get skills. You focus on education and skills. Those are the stuff under this chapter 6. In chapter 7, it talks to us on overcoming obstacles. And the main thing it tells us here is embracing challenges and learning from failures. That is the main thing it tells us here. And he said we should embrace challenges as opportunities and we should learn from failures. I know you should have heard it somewhere else that we should learn from failures. That failures, they will just give us more knowledge. And it's the fact. We embrace challenges as opportunities. Look at challenges and look for a way. Have a creative mindset to change the situation. You should develop problem solving skills and you should have persistence because you need to calm down and you need to have self control and have patience in order to get to what you want to do. In chapter 7, it tells us some things we need to know in order to get financially okay, to reach financial success. And then we move on to chapter 8, which talks on getting started. So here he just talks to us on a brief chapter how we can get started. And here he tells us different things. Number one, he tells us to take action, which is the main theme for this chapter, that we should set clear goals, focus on income generating activities, and we should continuously educate ourselves. Those are the three main things you need to know to get started. You set clear goals, focus on income generating assets, and you continuously educate yourself because that education is key to give you financial success. Then we move on to chapter 9, which talks on still want more. Here are some to do. So here it gives us some to do, some things we can do. That is like the key lessons. Number one, it says we should commit to lifelong learning. We should take calculated risk. We should build multiple streams of income, and then we should stay committed to our financial goals. So these are the main things we need to know, and that is the last part which talks on action stage, what exactly we need to do, where it rounds up the whole book. So let's move on to the key takeaways or notes from this book. One, I have just four here with me that I got from this book. The first one is financial education is key and more important than the money. The second one is build assets, not liabilities. You should focus on your asset columns. The third one is it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep. And the last one is it says one of the principles is give and it shall be given to you. So this is one of the main things you need to know. Give and it shall be given to you. If you want to receive, then you have to give. He also mentions it in his book and it's also mentioned in the Bible. So, this book to me, what are my impressions on this book? How did the book change me? Well, I really love this book because it really changed my knowledge on financial education. It changed my knowledge financially. I was able to learn new stuff and different things. And I was really happy when I read this book and I was like, I really need to share it with people. And who exactly should read this book? Well, someone who wants more understanding about money, how money works, how to make money, and understanding the way the rich understand money. Because the way the poor understand money is different from the way the rich understand money. For example, the poor and the middle class, what your parents tell you is that work hard, do well so you can get a high paying job. But that is not the real way it works. That is not the way it works because that is not the right thing. You need to understand the way the rich understand money, which is what this book tells us about. So why don't you go check it out and look at everything in detail? How about other book recommendations and other books you can use to learn about money? The very first one is The Millionaire Next Door. It's by Thomas J. Stanley and William D. Danko. Another one is The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. And we have Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. We have The Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clayson. We have I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. And Your Money or Your Life by Vic Robin and Joe Dominguez. And we have The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. And the last one we have The Rich Dad's Guide to Investing, still by Robert Kiyosaki. Robert Kiyosaki has many more books, and you should really go check it out because they talk on financial. They give you everything you need to know, the financial education you need to know. Thank you so much for listening to this second video on our episode. So Thank you. Don't forget to click that subscribe button, share, and turn on your notification bells. Bye.
A sub to the channel will be of great help to me as these videos go a long way and a long process before uploading. So thank you and God bless you as you subscribe and check the description for goodies. Also, if you really like this video, you can click on the notification bell icon so you get instant notifications immediately I upload a new video. Cool, right? Bye. Bye.